I have a dilemma. I've been asked to preach about something, and it doesn't make sense. What does make sense is what Dr. Farrelly was talking about. And that's why I'm torn between blah, blah, blah.
We want to hear blah, blah, blah.
No, let's say blah, blah, blah for another time. Instead, I would like to just share this idea of prophet for a moment. I am not a prophet, but I've had the privilege of being with prophets. I remember as a priest going to Marquette to visit a friend who was in the graduate program, and I had been talking of social justice and all of that, and the person said to me, words, 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 words. It's time you did something about it. And so I was invited, or rather told, to march with Father Grappi across the Milwaukee Bridge in the civil rights movement. One of the most terrifying days of my life. Here I was with coat and collar in the midst of a group of people going across this bridge, being spit at, yelled at by Catholics from the parish that was right across the bridge. And I remember when a brick came sailing by my head that I thought, it takes a lot to be a prophet, and I'm not sure I have it. But I did it. And a few years later, I had the opportunity to march, to be part of Father Berrigan's movement. He was awesome, he and his brother. I knew Daniel more than the other, but I was brought into contact for a reason. And I think the reason ultimately is that if you're going to be a real follower of this Yeshua ben Yosef, this Jesus, you have to put up or shut up. And so many times I shut up when I should have put up. But these two people above all, and I remember what it also brought into the forefront for me, was that I had a lot of Armageddons to face, some of which I have faced since then, but others that still have to be faced. And I think this morning brings to the forefront this idea that to be followers, to be, if you will, minor prophets, if nothing else, we have to stand up and be counted. Not just be passive, not just throw some money in a collection plate and call it a day, but to stand up and be counted. And I hope, and that's my wish today as we share in the Eucharist, the bread, the wine, that we be, all of us, prophets. That we live this faith, this belief, that we live this Jesus of Nazareth as prophets of the 21st century, for that's where we live. We don't live in the 18th century or any other century. But what Dr. Farrelly brought out made me change. This can always be said another time. Thank you, Chris. This can be said another time. But today, what had to be said, it seemed to me, was that those of us who've had the privilege to walk among the prophets have an obligation to not only share them, but to try to take one step at a time the way they did. And that's my wish for you, that that Wedgwood be a truly prophetic church. Amen and amen. Amen.
So we invite invite you to come to the table today to be served by Reverend Dr. Nancy Ledness, who, by the way, if you don't know, is the first Roman Catholic transgender priest. She has been a prophetess and a prophet. And we're also going to have at our second station Chris Wynn and Barbara Wynn, if they'll come forward. We invite you to come forward and seek communion with each other, with yourself, with the world, and we challenge you to help us form and be a prophetic community. Come to the table.